presented, Hatao Board begins its first year, not as a replacement, but as a reconstructed evolution of what was previously known as CAP and FACN Board, and now serves as the central hub for cultural production, including but not limited to Filipino American History Month and Filipino American Culture Night. How do you plan to ensure that the cultural programming does not become solely performance or event-centered, and that the board continues to promote educational, historical, and community-driven engagement throughout the year?
Thank you. I plan to interview the board super early on so that we ensure that we're providing the utmost culturally relevant topics to be presented at our Filipino American Culture Night. And one specific instance of this could be having our previous CAP board be replaced with a cultural competence consultant to ensure, again, that we are providing those culturally relevant lessons to be taught at our FSCNs. And can you please repeat the last part of the question?
How do you plan to ensure that cultural programming does not become solely performance or event-centered, and that the board continues to promote educational, historical, and community-driven engagement throughout the year?
I also plan to incorporate different voices and stories from our general body members, and that can include sending out surveys on what kind of stories we want to be told at FECN. And of course that is our general body members can't they don't have the power to direct it, so I would take it upon myself to pick and choose which parts that we can represent our general body members with. Can you repeat the question again, please?
Just the last part?
Yes, please.
How do you plan to ensure that cultural programming does not become solely performance or event-centered, and that the board continues to promote educational, historical, and community-driven engagement throughout the year?
I plan to do extensive research regarding which material is performed at our FECN, and I also want to educate general body members leading up to FECN in our general body meetings about what kind of dances we're performing, what kind of showcases are we performing, what the songs we're singing is about. Sorry. Can you repeat it again?
The whole question, or
the last part, please?
How do you plan to ensure that cultural programming does not become solely performance or event-centered, and that Hatao Board continues to promote educational, historical, and community-driven engagement throughout the year?
Yes. Now that the CAP board and the FCN board has been united, I will use CAP board positions such as the culture bearer or the new, what I just proposed, consultant, to help me educate members about the dances like Tinik Klingberg. Do we know what a Tinik is? Do we know why we're holding bamboo poles and holding up dancers, and what processes that can entail? Next question, please.
Thank you.
Being a Coco is widely recognized as a demanding role requiring significant commitment, passion, and dedication. It's not a position suited for everyone. If passion for cultural leadership were a recipe, what would the key ingredients be in your mix? And how do your experiences shape and refine them over time?
Can you repeat the whole question, please?
Yes. Being a Coco is widely recognized as a demanding role requiring significant commitment, passion, and dedication. It's not a position suited for everyone. If passion for cultural leadership were a recipe, what would the key ingredients be in your mix? And how do your experiences shape and refine them over time?
And can you repeat the last part of that question, please?
Yes. If passion for cultural leadership were a recipe, what would the key ingredients be in your mix, and how do your experiences shape and refine them over time?
Sorry, like one more time, please.
All good. If passion for cultural leadership were a recipe, what would the key ingredients be in your mix, and how do your experiences shape and refine them over time?
Okay, like what I said earlier, I want to implement more voices from our general body members and ensure that we're representing all of their identities. And how I did that before, I was like the captain of badminton and in high school, and I would not only like train with the lineup, but I would also like encourage our new like rookies and play with them because they deserve to have attention as well. And I feel like collaboration and inclusivity are one of my mixes in that recipe. Thank you.
Thank you.
Alright, guys, are you ready for your next question?
Yes, please.
With the implementation of the revised constitution and the formation of the Hatal board to streamline responsibilities under a single auxiliary board, how do you plan to maximize its potential in promoting heritage, arts, theater, and writing?
How I can maximize the potential is, of course, the timeline that I want is I want to adopt scriptwriters like early on in the summer because they have more experience and they already experienced a FSCN story. So, can you repeat it, please?
Yes. With the implementation of the revised constitution and the formation of the Hatal board to streamline responsibilities under a single auxiliary board, how do you plan to maximize its potential in promoting heritage, arts, theater, and writing?
And yes, I believe that having only 2 people work on such a big storyline, like we have 3 hours to perform the FACN Culture Night, I do want a diverse board to be working on the production. I believe that having diverse voices in our board can help incorporate those past recipes that I mentioned, such as the inclusivity and collaboration aspects. Can you repeat it? Can you repeat that last part, please?
Last part? Alright. How do you plan to maximize its potential in promoting heritage, arts, theater, and writing?
I want to make sure that the board members that I do adopt have a certain like threshold of experience. So for example, Cassidy, she had a resume that she turned in with her acting director application, and I think I do value like seeing people putting themselves out there like that, and I really want to see people with experience on FSCN board, Hatal board, to ensure that we're putting on the best production we could.